she's performing there. And he said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by performing? And she said, well, you remember when your sister used to sing around the house and everything? She says, well, she's a singer. She's really a singer, and she's performing with James Brown. And he was just like, oh my God, he could not believe it.
I stepped out on faith and I gave my notice. And I'm crying, y'all, because I gave my heart and my soul on that job. Because that was my passion. And sometimes our passion is really not our calling. It's just a passion.
When they say when it rains, it pours. It poured, but I didn't realize that the pour was on purpose. The pour was actually moving stuff out the way, moving people out of my path that didn't belong in my circle anymore.
Yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. And he looked at me, he was like, this little girl, how old is she?
He said, this little girl can sing. Look,
This little girl can sing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Success Leaves Clues. I am your girl, Minister Nikita Davis, the CEO and founder of Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, the #1 Christian publishing house in the land. And I am so excited. I got my girl, my queen, moving and shaking, Tracy, in the building. We are blessed to have her today. We're going to kick right into this episode of Success Leaves Clues. First of all, Tracy, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Well, I'm honored, and they should be honored, all the glow getters all over the world, to hear some of your wisdom, your tips, your strategies. But first, tell them, Queen, just a little bit more about you and where you're from and what you do.
All righty. So I am Tracy Tate Jones. I am the CEO of TLJ Professional Services. We're about all things financial. So we offer bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, life and health, business coaching, business formation, and business funding. I am also a 3-master person. So I have a master's in business, a master's in accounting, a master's in public administration. And, I'm just excited to be here. I have a nonprofit. It's called Beat the Streets. I always shout out my nonprofit. We celebrate 15 years this year, so I'm excited about that. It's a resource center for young adults, 13 to 29, around education, employment, and life skills. And I am currently a 3-time author working on my 4th collaboration. So the 4th will be out here very soon.
Wow. Do y'all see
And I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Come on now, where you say you from, Queen?
San Francisco Bay Area, California.
Calais in the house. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Queen. Well, wow, you are a woman of many different hats, many different facets. Obviously, ultra intelligent and smart with those 3 masters. Okay, come on, let me get one of them. Let me get one. No, that is fantastic, and I love it. And so this is all about helping really other queens to get a tip, to catch a clue, right, to success, because you and I both know this is a peculiar time for most of us. We have not, unless you were here in the 1920s with the Spanish flu, we have not dealt with something like this in our natural lifetime. And so I feel like a lot of queens feel stuck. They're not sure how to pivot. Maybe they had it going on before, but now they're really in this place of, how do I transition? How do I level up? And that's why we have experts such as you here. So talk to me about what shifts you've had to make in your business to stay relevant, to stay relatable, and to still make bank, quite frankly. So what tips, what have you done to make that pivot?
So part of the pivot, I increased my presence on Facebook. So doing more lives to get me out there. So I walked away from my corporate job last year, August 15th. Yes, that's been a blessing because I have been blessed to replace my salary, my bonus, and my stock award. So God sat me down first to let me know I could do it, and then He gave me the okay to go ahead and do that walk, and I did that. And I'm happy to say that I've replaced everything and have not skipped a beat. And then during this pandemic, we work with entrepreneurs and small business in their first years of business to make sure that they're set up right. And that's the reason why our services, we can literally take you from setup all the way through tax prep, right? So, a lot of our clients, especially our restaurant clients, they wasn't sure how to pivot. So I had one that instantly went to deliveries and pickups and all of that. And then I had the other just stuck. They closed one of the locations, and I'm like, no, this is what you do. So I was able to help my clients, and that's how I pivoted, because although, my AR kept increasing, the thing about it is I'm in business to help entrepreneurs be successful. And their success is my success. Their growth is my growth. So I couldn't let them just stop. Right. So, even though I couldn't get paid right away, I helped them prepare for the PPP loans and the EIDL loans and, other loans that they can apply for, and just keep the faith, because this is more about faith at this time. You see, look, California had an orange sky 2 days ago, and we like, what? It was red, literally. This whole 2020 has been a year of something else. You go into each month like, okay, what's next? Okay, well, what was next was 90 degree, 100 degree weather one day, and the very next day dropped down to 60. Waking up to red skies. So God is shifting and moving, and literally in business, you have to keep your faith and never give up. So, for me, it was just offering more services, trying to get in front of more people, to get more clients, doing more interviews like I'm doing now, and connect my base. So I am in the process of trying to grow my business. So it's right on time. So where some people is panicking in the COVID and in this pandemic, I'm thriving, because it's been to get me up out my shell,
I know that's right. But you said some pivotal things that I will say, and I confirm that information. One, that faith. That's all this is, baby. If you haven't built the faith muscle, if you didn't have the faith muscle, you've got to grow it in this season, point blank, period. So. And even if you had it, the same faith, I tell queens this all the time, the faith that you had in 2019 is not going to be sufficient for 2020. And the faith you have in 2020 is not going to be sufficient in 2021. Amen. You can't expect God to grow you exponentially, quantum leaps and bounds, right? Right. Especially in a time such as this, and keep the same faith that you had 2 years ago. It's Amen. Got to grow. It's a muscle, and you got to flex it. And so, Queen, you flexing it. Okay,
I flex it unintentionally.
Come on, look. But he's intentional, and so you're trusting him, and so that is the foundation. And I love how you also said how you're maximizing in your social media. Your networks is so key. This is one of those things, and I come from, long line of corporate, 15 years corporate America. I too stepped out full time in entrepreneurship last year. Had my business before, but said it's going to be full time. That's where God led me to, and it's been nothing but blessings because I trusted him and I leveraged my networks. And so when you do that, you have a recipe for success, especially if you hook up with queens like this that will get you in the game, get your financial house in order, which I know many entrepreneurs, small businesses just starting out, they don't get that. It's like they want to make the money, but they don't want to talk money. That makes no sense.
Exactly.
You cannot not want to talk the money, honey.
They don't want nobody to know about their money. They don't want nobody to know that they're making money. They're making money, but then they don't know how much they're making, how much they're spending.
Right.
That was pivotal too. Helping these small businesses get their books together, because I gained clients just because their books wasn't in order to apply for the PPP. They didn't know what the
so many people miss the money. Yes, I was watching a documentary on CNBC, and it was a specifically curtailed for African Americans, which I know our audience is a wide audience, but what it was saying was many African Americans in the community, even though they had businesses and side hustles, etc., but because their paperwork was not in order, they missed the boat, or they had to come through on the second haul for it, but by then many of the funds were depleted. So here you are with this particular subset, which we happen to be, to where they couldn't get the funding, right? Because your house wasn't in order. Your house had to be in order to tap into this. And so a queen such as this, Tracy Jones, and her magnificent team, you need to get with her, queen. I hope you're taking notes. So thank you for that. So tell me, or tell our global queens that are watching this, you know, what would be your clue? I know you said faith. I know we talked about how you pivoted and got in order, but if you had to tell a queen that is scared, quite frankly, in this season, what's one of the things you would tell her to do next? Like if you had a step plan, what would you tell her to do? She's new to her business. She knows she wants to succeed. She wants to replace her income, like, you know, from her employer, like you've done, like I've been able to do. What's one of the first 2 to 3 tips you would give her to start that process?
One step at a time, one day at a time. Okay. And never stop stepping.
Come on, come on.
That's it. Those 3 right there. One day at a time, one step at a time, and never stop stepping.
And we're going to have to coin that. I like that. That's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. What could they fall into if they stop stepping? What happens if they stop stepping?
Depression kicks in. Doubt kicks in. Motivation stops, right? So one thing that I teach, so I do a training webinar on Fridays for the journey of an entrepreneur. That's what it's called, the things to know. And one thing that I always start with is you have to know your mission, vision, and purpose of your business. You know, I started my business as a side hustle in 2003, Tracy L booking, just to supplement my income because I bought a house and, you know, you need that extra income and so forth. But you have to be intentional about what you want to do to be successful in your business. That's where you keep stepping. That's where, you know, everything is one day at a time, because every day is a different day, right? We don't know what we're going to get. And if you didn't know that before, 2020 has shown you every month has been something different. September is, and I wrote it on Facebook, I was like, okay, so September is because I had saw 5 rest in peace posts by day 3. And I've seen probably up to 10 by now. And we are only on the 11th day of the month. So you have to live intentionally, but one day at a time. You know, you have to plan and have a goal that you set, that you're trying to get to, because otherwise you just spin it. You don't even know where you're heading to. You don't know if you done reached it already, right? So without that plan, mission, vision, and purpose, you don't know where you are. And without your books, you really don't know where you are financially. I've seen businesses give up not knowing their book, not knowing the worth or the value of their business, where they could have sold their business and got money for it instead of just closing it and saying, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of the pivot too. You know, everybody has what God has for them. And that's how I live. That's part of my faith. It's saying, you know what? Things don't always work the way I want them to, but it's okay because it's my journey, but God got me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's, oh, well, you know, shake it off. You got to shake it off because you'll get stuck in that rut. You'll get stuck in depression. You'll feel like you're a failure and all that. You don't have room for that. Not in business.
Zero.
Not in business. So, you know, it's really about the mindset of saying, you know what? That happened that way for a reason. I accept that and I move on. God has something else for me. If I don't get what I want, that means it wasn't for me, and God has something else for me. And I roll with that.
That's so good, Queen. And you mentioned something that a lot of people don't know. Like you said, they'll throw it away instead of being able to sell their business. Can you tell the people a little bit about getting that evaluation for their business? Just high level. How do they get that evaluation to know what their business really is worth?
Financial statements. If you ain't had your books together. So another thing that I teach on is you have to separate your business from your personal. That's where a lot of people get caught up, because what's business and what's personal? You know, some items, and depending on your business, of course, but Costco for me is personal. Costco for a restaurant is business, right? So and I'm not going to remember something I bought in January or February if it was business or personal. It just kind of doesn't work that way. So your financials have to be in order, number one, you know. But if you don't know, you need to get with somebody that know how to tell you to get it. You know, we all have I always tell clients, do what you're good at and let me do what I'm good at. Because I'm not good at everything and I don't claim to be. Therefore, I know what to outsource. I know what to give to someone else. I know who to hire for it, because that ain't me. I know what my calling is, right? I know what my gift is, and everything is not my gift. It can't be, right? So where you're not good in your area, I always teach on education. You have to stay educated in your craft, in your industry, because again, 2020 ain't taught you nothing else. It taught you better pivot. So guess what? If you only had one mindset, one skill set, what did you do? You stopped. You cannot be content in knowing what I know today. You have to continue your education. You have to follow what's trending. You have to follow what works and what doesn't work. You have to follow your competitors. You know, I don't look at competitors as competition. I look at them as opportunity. I look at them as opportunity for growth, as opportunity for knowledge, because I'm gonna learn from them. And what works for somebody may not work for you. I'm not saying follow them. I take in what I want and throw the rest of it away.
Come on.
I attend seminars that don't have nothing to do with my subjects, just to see how they put it together, right? How did it flow? Just to get some tips off of what they did so that I can use it in my business. That's education. You know, school ain't for everybody. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't your only way to learn.
Queen, you are speaking to my heart. Let me tell you something. When I knew that I was going to transition into full-time entrepreneurship, I always had an entrepreneur spirit. I had dabbled in entrepreneurship before, but I always chose the corporate job because I was just like, man, for what I'm making, and I made good money, and I got to travel, and I, you know, had all that stuff, the company, laptop, cell phone, 2 credit cards, American Express, Citibank, and traveled and really built my own schedule. So it's like, who's going to replace that? I mean, I know I'm doing this, but who's really going to replace what I'm doing with what I got going on? And so, but with that, when really God spoke to my heart and said, I'm going to make that transition, I even began to look at my job, my corporate job differently. Instead of just taking what the VP was saying, I was looking at it like, yeah, to do my job, but oh, I can apply this in my business. Amen. Oh, I can see the way they held this meeting. You see the way they got us all together and to agree. You see the way they had the documents at XYZ. I began to mentally and write down that structure, because I'm like, look, this place is a Fortune top 10 company for a reason. It don't matter what they doing, the structure evidently works. And so what can I not steal, because, you know, I'm not taking anything proprietary. These are things that other business models have, but where can I take that and apply that to my own business to be successful? And so I began to look at that. And like you said, other competitors completely. I just did a masterclass this past weekend, helping queens to learn how to earn, you know, from 5K to 5 figures monthly, doing what they love. And I was giving the example of McDonald's. Like, McDonald's didn't start off with a drive-through, right? So you can look this up on Wikipedia, but they didn't start with a drive-through. The banking industry was the first to get a drive-through. They saw the success from the banking industry and said, let me see if I can take this facet of their business and apply it to my fast food. And they did that, and the numbers went through the roof. So you can cross-pollinate. So I love how you said that you'll go to seminars and things of that nature that ain't got nothing even to do with your industry, because you may take a model that they use as successful and it may work and help elevate you. Y'all, I hope y'all picking up these clues right here, because they getting dropped, okay? They are getting dropped in. Prayerfully, if you're watching this live, you're getting it for free. So Glory to
Amen.
God. That's fantastic, Queen. So you mentioned you hosting workshops, etc. Where are these workshops? Is this in a special group? Do you have a special Facebook group, or where can they find out about this? Is it just on Eventbrite? How can they get into some of these courses,
So
classes on Fridays?
I hold lives on Tuesday. It's Tax Tip Tuesday. Wednesday is about all things financial. I'm branding that. I'm creating courses. So that'll be the brand for my courses, but about all things financial, cover different financial topics, whatever is trending, whatever comes to my heart to want to share. You know, I am part of other organizations and IRS newsletters and stuff like that. So I get those tax tips from the IRS directly, what they letting us know. And on Fridays, the webinar is actually, you can join it from my page. So if you follow TLJ Professional Services, you'll get, and ask for notifications or sign up for the notifications. Everything that we post, you'll get a notification of. So there is a link on my page that gets you to sign up, because you must register for the Friday training. It is a webinar jam event, but it is a training. The way I speak, I'm not pre-scripted. So every webinar is something different. You know, the slides, the topics might be the same, but you get me every time in raw form. No matter what stage I speak on, I don't know how to script. So you just get me raw and uncut, but I'm so diverse in knowledge and experience. I've been at this game for over 35 years. So, you know, I too was looking at corporate, but from a standpoint, I'm tired of building their dream. What about mine? The last company I was with is a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, and they also is a data center. I started with them when they maybe had about 300 to 500,000 a year. By the time I left, 11 and a half years later, $3+ billion company.
And how much of that was yours?
Thank you. I managed $3+ billion of their dollars, week after week, day after day, because I was the director of accounts payable. They couldn't get nowhere without me making sure their bills was paid and everything else. So the thing about it is, the financial aspect of a business is vital, because without those numbers, you can't pivot, you can't scale. You don't even know what's working and what's not, right? Because you're not tracking your numbers. You might mentally have a clue, right? But what you think about sometimes is not always what's on paper. Them loans and stuff is on paper. You walk into a bank, it's about your papers. You don't have no financial statements, you're not getting money from nowhere.
In other words, you can't get no paper if you ain't got no papers.
If you ain't got no
dig?
papers. Right, that part.
You can't get the paper without the papers.
And people don't realize that even your business structure impacts your funding opportunities. So originally, like when the PPP came out, they were not doing sole prop. They were not doing single member LLCs, because the LLC and the sole prop is the same. The only difference is you limit your liability in that LLC. They wasn't lending to that. Then they pivoted, because most entrepreneurs are sole prop or, you know, an LLC, thinking that they're a corporation. You know, they know they're not a corporation. There's a lot of queens and kings out there that are scared of being a corporation. All those benefits you had as a W-2 employee, you get to implement that in your business. That's universal. That's not specific to corporate them. You know, you could be a one person corporation like me. I'm a one-person corporation that I outsource and I hire staff. But I am the only or the sole shareholder in my corporation. But when I choose to, I could get investors to buy into my business by giving them a piece of stock, selling them a stock certificate as part of my business. If I want to walk away from my business, that's part of what I talked about before. Don't just walk away from no business, sell it. Sell pieces of it if you have to. Sell your client list, sell your inventory, sell your concepts. don't walk away from no business empty-handed. That's not how this works.
That's so good. That's so good. Boy, you out here dropping the nuggets, y'all. This is why we are doing this. This is fantastic. Absolutely love it. So talk to these queens that are watching this when it comes to investing in themselves, right? Because in your business, it costs. Yes, you have freebies and things on Fridays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And a lot of that, I know you go deeper than just surface level. And that's what helps make you great, because you give valuable nuggets. But, you know, in order to really level up, you have to be willing to invest in yourself. I personally, as a publisher, and help people with marketing and media, and I do business coaching and author coaching as well. But people, it's like they're afraid to invest, but what they don't understand, if you don't invest, what you have is just like, when we talk biblically, what you have, that's all you'll have. And even that can be taken away when you're not willing to invest in yourself. But if you give freely, I didn't say stupidly, I didn't say just give to anybody that say they are the guru. I'm saying do your due diligence and do your research. But if you don't invest, you will remain until it depletes. It's almost like how they have those banking or checking accounts where they say, okay, well, your money is in there, but if you don't have a certain threshold, we're going to take $10 out each month. I don't care if you have $1 million in there. If you don't start adding to grow it or what have you, that $10 is going to keep deducting for the rest of the days until it's zero. Exactly. So that's what you're doing when you don't invest. So talk to the queens about the importance of investing with you, and just investing in themselves, period. Like, why is that so pivotal to you?
So I spoke a little bit about it earlier as far as the continuing education, right? That education, you don't have to be formal school. You can attend seminars that's not free. Pay for it. It's a business write-off. Ding, right? It's like, but you have to spend money on yourself to increase your knowledge of your craft. You have to spend money in your business in order for it to multiply. You know, people are scared of taking business loans. For what? Do you know the backbone of all of these large corporations is using somebody else's money? Quit trying to use your own. You know, and I had to say the same thing, even with the PPP loans and stuff like that. There's like, okay, but I wanted the EIDL loan because, you know, it's for working capital. Well, I wanted to pay off this, that. No. How about you let that pay for the rent that you've been paying out your sales every month? And that now becomes your income that you can pay yourself a bonus or whatever. Then you can pay off whatever debt or whatever. But if you use that money incorrectly, it's going to cost you either your freedom or your finances. So you have to know how, that's part of that pivot as well. But you have to invest in yourself. So yes, of course I have a cost, or else I wouldn't be able to scale, right? But I meet people kind of where they are to help them get where they're going, because your success is my success, right? So like with the webinar, at the end, I give discounts on some of our packages. So we offer packages where we have an elite package where we literally set you up as a corporation and handhold you through your first year of a corporation all the way through tax prep, right? But then we also have QuickBooks is cheap. You know, it's not very expensive. People don't realize that there's levels to it. You know, we have a package where we can automate you, right? That's a one-time fee. Or there's payment plans to these packages. And, you know, so, but the thing about it is, if you don't invest in your business, you're spending that time either not doing what you need to do for your finances, so you're gonna always stay where you are in your sales and not growing, because again, you have to use somebody else's money in order to grow. There's no way that you're gonna now once you get to a certain point, you have to learn how to reinvest into the business smart, right? You also have to have multiple streams of income. Now I know we all done heard it, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, that's an old school phrase. But to even besides business, you have to look at yourself. Your business is one thing, but you're something else, right? You have to grow yourself, and you have to. You can be very successful in business, but broken on the inside. If you know that you're dealing with depression, get help. If you know that you holding on by a thread, that your faith is a mustard seed, but that's all it takes, right? It's just that mustard seed. Get the word. Connect with sisters or brothers that speak to your soul. But like you said, don't get caught up in the wrong experts, right? Because an expert that's willing to invest in you, I always say, get a coach. I have several coaches. Yeah, they cost too. Everybody is in business to make money. So you can't, like I had posted something like for my formation, and somebody jumped on my post. I was like, well, you can do that yourself. Well, look, I was about to cuss, but I know you're a Christian. Look, I am too, but I'm a cussing
Lord.
Christian. but you know,
we understand. We got you,
Yeah,
Chris.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, there's always somebody that's offering something that you don't want to do yourself. You're going to get your hair done. You can do that by yourself too. Some things people don't want to take the time to do themselves. That's why there's so many different businesses. There's a variety of businesses, a variety of services. There's a variety of products, either to help you do it yourself, and that's why I'm building courses, right? Or to get it done for you. Hair, nails, eyelash, all of that. So why not what I'm doing, and you going to spend umpteen dollars on hair, but you won't invest that same money in your business? What kind of crazy stuff, you know? So it's the
People have
mindset.
it. Queen, you are so spot on. It is it starts with the mind. Period. Point blank, period. It's how you begin to look at things, and how you, doesn't mean that you can't, ladies, look nice or XYZ, but you got to say, is it worth it? What am I trying to do? Where am I at in the stage in the game to where I can, quote unquote, earn that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And what you're willing to spend on those things, reinvest that in you. Plus, another thing, you said it earlier, right? You're good at what you're good at. I'm good at what I'm good at. I talk about that with my clients that I have, my business coaching and my authors too. Work in your genius zone. I just literally, before we began this, I was talking to one of my business coaching clients. She's got some projects and I was trying to help her streamline that. And I said, Queen, I know you know how to do X, Y, Z, but your time is more valuable and better suited if you're working on the thing that you know God gave you to give out to the world, and let somebody else do this thing. Not that it's minuscule, it's important, it needs to be taken care of. But there's somebody else that this is their genius zone. They could do it in 2 minutes flat.
Right.
Or you can do it, and it might take you 2 days to do it, you know, and it might be good, but it took you 2 days. How much money can you make in 2 days? If you are operating in your genius zone at your highest level and attracting your ideal clients to work with you, what can you make in that 2 days that you just spent on something that could cost you $100, $200? I don't care if it costs you $1,000, but in those 2 days, and what you operate in, you could have made $10,000.
Exactly.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely that mindset of, if I free up this time, you have more time for your craft, like you said, working your genius, you know, and people don't look at that. A lot of people, especially small business, because I get it, you know, it's hard getting started. You're trying to pinch and save every money you can. You're looking at every dollar spent, but I guarantee you that if you take something off of your plate that's costing you time, because time is money, it's going to pay for itself and allow you to multiply in that same time that you gave up.
That's it.
Like you said, you know how much you could get done in 2 days? That took you 2 days. Even if it took you 2 hours, you know how much you could get done in 2 hours?
Right.
Look, I did an interview and the guy asked me, he said, it was one of the last questions that they asked. He's like, how much sleep do you get? 10 hours. He was shocked. I'm like, anywhere between 8 and 10 hours. It's a must for me, because for my genius, I got to have some rest, because I'm not at my full.
You gotta get some rest, Queen. You gotta get some rest. Yeah.
I go at it literally 12 hours a day, minimum.
Come on.
So 10, oh yeah, I'm sleeping the rest of them, because a lot of my concepts, a lot of my offerings, a lot of my answers to client problems come in my peace. And my peace is before and during and after sleep. I guess even when I was in the corporate world, I would come up with solutions waking up from sleep. Like showing, like I dream, and that's, I guess it's good and bad because I shouldn't be dreaming about business all the time, right? But I do. I mean, it's part of how God speaks to me is in my peace, because otherwise my mind is going, right? I'm
He's got it because
I'm
he can keep.
multitasking.
He's got you still. I mean, you're not going nowhere while you sleep
That
because we're
part.
always on the go. So when you're saying, I'm very much the same way, and I find that to be a lot of the queens that I partner and connect with. They're visionaries, and so I keep pen and paper, and I have a recorder that I keep nearby because God speaks to me in my dreams, in the day too, but in my dreams, and I could wake up with an idea that I can launch and easily pick up an extra 5 figures or whatever the case. But not just the money. I look at money as, yes, my bank account should be going up and to the right, but I also look at it as the more money I'm making, that's the more lives I'm impacting. That's the way I look at it. So if my money is looking funny in any particular month, yeah, that hurts and you say ouch, but I'm saying, wow, I'm not operating in my full gift that God has given me, because if I am, then people are being impacted and they want to pay me. I mean, I got invoices where queens are like, I'm so glad you're letting me still get in, queen, because I XYZ, and it could be for over $1,000 some bucks that they're sending to me. And it's like, they should see it as a privilege to work with you, not because you all that, but what you do is so amazing. It's so unique. They understand your value proposition and what you bring to the table and the experience they're going to get from you, that they want to buy from you. They come to you with credit card ready because they understand, but that comes with some processes. There's levels to that. It don't happen overnight. I can tell you that. And I'm sure this queen can too.
I'm a testimony to that. I mean, I'm grateful and I'm honored to be able to replace that corporate salary and bonus and stock, because God let me see this is just the beginning. This is year one.
Yes.
This is year one.
So what you think you're gonna do by the time you get to 2, 3, 4, 5? What? Look, more million.
And I don't stop. So it already planned to double, and actually more than double for year 2. Triple for year 3. But see, I'm a giver. So I never count money in that aspect, because when I give it, I get it back trifold. That's not just a cliche. That's real. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give my last of something, or I'll step out on faith in something in a heartbeat. I'm impulsive. That's the clinical word for it. But if it don't work, like I said, it's, hey, how would I know if it worked if I didn't do it?
Right. You have to be willing. When I tell people, trust God and bet on you. And that's what I do. I trust God, period, that if he's brought me to this, because 2 things I pray for daily is wisdom and discernment. It's not enough just for me to have the knowledge or the information. I need to know the application. So I want to lead my life in such a way, in business and anything else that I do. Yes, it's pleasing to him, but I'm also operating in my purpose, in my gifts, and not just for me. I'm huge on bringing other people with me. Like, it's no fun if it's just you winning. Like, I want other people to win, and that's why we have this platform with amazing leaders such as Tracy and the other women that you've heard from. But that's important, because you really can create your own tribe and your own village, and all of you can eat good, but you got to pick up a clues such as this from Miss Tracy Jones is dropping it like it's hot on you. And the other queens that are here as well. So I love it. As we wrap up, and gosh, I really could see this going on and on.
Girl,
but but good stuff. You're not just talking, you are dropping. People need to know this information. They need to know, because they just don't know. And I know people will hit you with the, oh, trust me, I've heard people. But I go to Google. Okay, tell me how that worked out for you.
Right. Google is a resource.
It is, but if you want to get into the nitty gritty, this is what I tell my clients. I said, as people are, because they're entrepreneurs as well, I say, you can tell people the what, you can tell them the why, you can tell them the when, you can tell them all of that, but that how, they got to pay you for your how. The how is the secret sauce. The how is the secret sauce. The how is the secret sauce. And so Google will give you the what, the when, the where. And you might get a little bit of the how, but the nitty-gritty.
But it's also the interpretation.
Correct, right? Which you're only going to get from an expert to give you that true interpretation, because they have real life experience. That Google is a IG, the
Right.
system is not going to give you that. Or just going to YouTube. Okay, how many links you got to go through YouTube to get that information? And how
Right.
many, when you know that Tracy got the answer for you, but you over here playing and scared to spend 500, 1,000, or whatever it is her cost may be for you to do business with her and to talk with her. Because one thing I will say, and then I want to get your final thoughts. For me as a business owner, and I love the fact that I get to operate in the Holy Spirit. Yes, I'm a business.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
I have prices. Yes, I have fees. Yes, I have
Right.
all of these things. But what does not override that, or what overrides that, is the grace of God and what he calls me to do. I have never
Amen.
turned away someone who was serious. Understand?
That
Serious.
part.
I have never
That
turned
part.
away anyone serious about doing business with me, that was willing to work out something that made sense. I'm not talking about somebody
Right.
coming to me trying to get it for free, or
Right.
trying to finagle me,
Manipulate.
or
Right.
any of that.
Exactly.
But somebody, a
Mhm.
real queen who was like, I'm serious, Nikita. I literally don't have it today, but I don't care what I've got to do righteously. I'm going to find a way to pay you. Would you be willing? I've never told anybody no on that. I have
You're
not.
not supposed to.
Because they were serious about it. And I know, because remember, I pray for wisdom and discernment. So I
Mhm.
know, honey, what's old school used to say, a spade, no a spade. You can't
That's
play,
right.
you can't play a spade,
You
baby.
can't hustle a
And
hustler.
you can't hustle a hustler. Because I ain't always been right here where I am today. You understand what I'm saying? And so, hey, you're supposed to be as gentle as dove, and what is it, sharp, or as a snake. So I know, so I've never had that. So for me, you not doing business with me when you say you want to, it's really you that have made the decision. Because if you came to me woman to woman and you were serious, not begging me, but with integrity, I'm going to find a way, because I operate, the Holy Spirit supersedes the business principles.
Very much so.
That's the difference for me, and I'm sure that's the same for you as well.
Very
So
much
closed
so.
mouths don't get fed. Like, if you
That
want
part.
it,
That's my cliche. Right.
what the words say, you have not because you ask not. And so you need to ask. Come on. So I can give it to you. Which way you want? You want the Bible? You want the street? I can give you both.
And both of them, look, they work
mean
hand
the
in
same
hand.
thing. It means the
Look, they
same
work
thing.
hand in hand.
So you got to be willing to talk to folks. Yeah, go ahead, Queen.
Definitely. So I do. So what I do is I offer a free 30-minute consultation. And you could get that. You go on my website, tljprofessionalservices.com. Everything I'm on, from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm on. You just put in TLJ Professionals, Google. That's part of my title thing. You can
Queen,
Google
that's
me.
another
You want to
tip.
use Google?
Look, that's
Google
another
me.
tip she just gave y'all right there. You hear that? Where people have 8 different usernames. Stop that. Stop that. Unless you have to change it. Like, I know for me, my Twitter, Jesus Coffee and Prayer was too long, so I had to shorten it. But everything else, if you can do that, do that. Those are strategic moves. She just gave that to y'all. But go ahead, Queen. I'm sorry. I just want them to know that.
No, that's real. And
that's
look,
how people find you. You say it over and over again. Yeah.
Simple, right? You can find, if you just put in TLJ Professional Services, you can find me on any of those platforms. I don't do Twitter. I'm still old school. But I do the 30-minute consultation, not just to see where you are, but to see if we're fit, because everybody don't work well with everybody, and that's okay. I'm not for everybody, because I don't pull no punches, and I keep it straight.
Straight shooter.
And some people can't take honesty. Some people can't take the truth, or not ready to hear reality, right? So, that 30-minute consultation is for us to get to know each other and see where you are and where you're trying to be. And if we're a good fit, because it's not just, are you a good fit for me, but am I a good fit for you? Because time is money, and this is an investment. Your journey is an investment as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a small business. It's an investment. It's a journey. And I would love to be on that journey with you to get you where you're going, because your success is my success. I smile when I'm able to make a difference, and a lot of the businesses I've worked with around my career, and I stay long-term, but every business I've been with have been a startup. And I'm part of that process of creating policies or procedures or processes that get them to where they're trying to grow. Not go, but grow, right? So, that it don't cost you nothing when it's free. And like you said, closed mouths don't get fed, but what you don't know can hurt you. Okay. Because sometimes, we get blindsided or caught up in our own vision that is tunnel vision. And you can't have tunnel vision, not in business, because if those people that were tunnel vision got caught off guard in this COVID. Life happens. It just happens, right? And I've learned in life that everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's to get you out of the comfort zone. Sometimes you're not on the right path of your calling, what God has for you, what your mission, what your purpose, what your vision is, because you're following the money. Money gonna come naturally when you're in your gift, when you're in your zone. I love when you said that because it's real. You don't have to follow the money. That's what I do. I follow your money to make sure your money is doing what it's supposed to do. If you spending it the way you're supposed to spend, if you overspending, any of that. I worked with a client when first time I got in their books and saw their financials. I was like, you're spending too much on cost of goods sold. Why? They were going to the store every day. It was a restaurant. If you don't buy bulk and the money that small businesses and entrepreneurs leave on the table just from not knowing, they knew well enough to invest in their business. I can't say it. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your business, period. I work with you where you at to where you're trying to be. Like you said, for those serious people, and that's why my AR was so high. But guess what? I had a client that actually owed me for 2 years. But I knew where her heart was, and I knew she was trying. I knew she was struggling, but guess what she didn't do? Give up. She never gave up. If she could only pay $20, $30, he let me know, I ain't forgot about you. You know what I'm saying? But I knew what she was going through because you're not just a client with me. You're part of our family. You become family. And I'm a family person. I'm a giver. I'm a lover. You know what I'm saying? I do everything from my heart. And I have a saying, only you could tell your butt with me. Right. And I don't use the word but. Only you could, because I'm giving to you genuinely. So if you try to manipulate, like you said, if you're trying to manipulate and con and all that, God got me. You tell your own tale, you don't do nothing to me. You missed your opportunity. But you better believe as soon as she got her money from the EIDL, because I helped her get it, she broke me off from those last 2 years that I've been holding her balance and running it forward.
People remember you, I'm going to say the quote wrong, but Maya Angelou said, people forget what you said, all this extra, but they remember how you make them feel. And that's another thing. How do you make your clients feel, your customers feel? That's how you get repeat customers. That's how you word of mouth. I don't care what marketing, what Facebook ads, what IG ads, what billboards, word of mouth will always be the #1 stunner for getting people to come back and refer and to do business with you. Not saying that you don't do Facebook ads or Instagram ads when the money makes sense for you to do that. People just jump off and, I need to do it and don't know what they're doing and end up wasting money and don't get no return on investment because you don't know what you're doing.
I'm guilty.
No, but I'm just saying, but that's a learning process. You gotta get, but that's working your genius zone. I just talked to a queen last night that is putting me in contact with someone that is a master at Facebook ads and IG ads. That's not something I have dabbled with, but I know that's an area of opportunity, but it's not my genius zone, and that's okay. Amen. I will get someone that is their genius zone, and I will pay them to help me go to where I'm wanting to go to and grow to.
Exactly.
So, but the point I'm trying to make is, people remember how you make them feel, and they will come back to you. Not only will they come back to you, I tell my queens, I said, not only will they come back to you, they'll bring other people with them for you.
Very much so.
And that is, I know you living proof, and I know I'm living proof. They'll be like, oh yeah, so-and-so wants to do a book with you, or so-and-so wants help with their media, PR, X, Y. They'll come right over and just drop it. Boom. And it success begets success. So fantastic. Well, look, Tracy, you have been thebomb.com. We're going to have you back on something because a queen is always doing something where we can get your expertise. Leave them 2 things, 3 things. Any upcoming projects, anything they can be a part of with you. Two, how can, just one more time, remind them how they can get in contact with you or be a part of your circle or anything that you're doing. And then just leave them one final clue, one last clue for success. So how can they reach you? What else you got going on where they can participate?
Thank you, because I'm like,
yeah, I know.
my,
Yeah, so
my brain don't work like that in memory.
Yes. So what you got coming up next? How can they be in contact? One last tip, one last
Okay.
clue.
So contact me, TLJ Professional Services, on all platforms. You look that up, you'll get to me. Or Tracy Tate Jones. Some things I'm Tracy Jones, some things I'm Tracy Tate Jones. But TLJ Professional Services is just that. Look, I told you my brain don't be
Any
like,
upcoming projects?
So upcoming projects, I stay with projects. So a couple of things. So I mentioned my nonprofit earlier. We do celebrate 15 years this year. We will be doing a virtual event October. We're finalizing some details to make it happen. But as the founder and president, that's an honor in and of itself. Like I said, I have 3 books already. I'll be part of a 4th compilation. It's called Girl Hold My Purse. I'll be working on my chapter today, as a matter of fact. So that's another something that I have coming up. But if you don't take nothing else away from me today, there's a couple of things I want you to do. Mission, vision, and purpose of your business. One day at a time, one step at a time, and never stop stepping.
Love it. There it is, y'all. Tracy Jones. Y'all virtually can clap it up, tap it up. You know, I go back to Love Jones because I'm a poet at heart. With the snapping of the fingers. My husband can't tell me I ain't Nia Long, honey. I'm Nina. I'm sorry. Everybody's like, who is that? Look up Love Jones. It's another version of Harry Met Sally, but just a different twist. Okay. It's a different cultural version of that.
You're so politically correct. I love that.
Yes.
I just say it. But.
Yes, but you have been phenomenal. I love it. I'm definitely going to jump in and fall off into some of your groups. And I just look forward to seeing you just glowing up in this season 2020
Amen.
Into 2021. And all the people that are going to lock arms with you, and they're going to be blessed because they picked up the clues that you left. I thank you so much. Y'all,
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, just absolutely an honor. You done left some things for me to meditate on in my life, get my life together. make sure I got my life together, right? Because this isn't it. Hey, this is for all of us. We're trying to grow. Yes. It's a season of growth. Remember, she said that learning, this is a part of that. So nobody's immune to that. So I thank you. Well, and I thank you, queens, who are watching this wherever you are in the world. I thank you for participating. This is your girl, Minister Nikita Davis, the proud CEO and founder of Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, the #1 Christian publishing house in the land. And you have just watched an episode of Success Leaves Clues. Now go be great, queen. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Amen. Be blessed.
Yes.